Okay, so I just made a YouTube short about this, but now I want to expand and just talk as I do. So I asked Mother Earth, I was walking home and I was looking at the trees and I was really, tapping into how, the struggles that they're going through right now because of climate change. The trees are just drying up and the leaves are drying up a lot faster. Okay, but you know what? I just got this note. So we look at the leaves and we're like, this is the sign of a healthy tree. And so we see the trees during during spring and during summer, and we're like, oh my God, nature is thriving, nature is blooming, nature is coming back to life, And we look at these leaves and all of these things that paint a picture of health. And we're like, this is a healthy tree, or this is healthy nature. But you know what is... But I feel like Spirit pointed me to the root, the trunk of the trees, the roots, what's happening below ground. Is the tree strong? Is it still standing? Is it adapting? Is it changing? Is it growing rather than falling apart? That's how you know that it's healthy. There are going to be impurities. There are going to be imperfections. There's going to be times where we look at nature in the next few years, the next few decades, and we're not going to really love the way it looks because she's dying, Earth is dying and is going to be reborn again. And this has happened before. This is evolution. This is a reaction to what has happened, right? But I feel like I'll remove the cause. So maybe the rain is really to blame. I'll remove the cause, but not the symptom. I have to think about that more. So anyways, Mother Earth, I asked her for some help on how we could help heal and just contribute to helping the earth right now. And I said I would shuffle my song, shuffle my music playlist, and she could give me a song. And so I shuffled my playlist, and the song that came up was Sweet Transvestite from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm sorry if that's an offensive word. I honestly didn't remember if it was that word that people use more or transsexual, because this is from Glee. This is the Glee era, and they used that word. But anyways, I just want to make sure I'm not hurting anybody. So sorry if that's the wrong word to use. That's the only time I'll say it, though. So anyways, yeah, that's the song that came up, the Glee version, LOL. And it was Mercedes singing, Amber Riley, obviously. And anyways, as soon as it came on, I immediately started singing it because I love that song. I thought that it was really funny that was a song that was chosen. And what I also noticed is that that's a very sexual energy song, but it's not like blatantly sexual. I mean, it is, but it's not like... it's not too much, or it doesn't seem like it to me. It's very creative, and it's very scientific. Sci-fi, science fiction. It's the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's also very queer, right? Because it's the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And it's also very much so blending different experiences, different ways of being, because it's Mercedes singing as a black woman. She's talking about, I'm making a man with blonde hair and a tan. He's a white guy in the show. But then she's also... Oh, shit. But then in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, there's somebody else who sings that. I don't remember who, but someone else sings that. So it just made me laugh. There's all these things that are coming together. Anyways, but Spirit and Mama Earth, I think, was talking to me and in extension to all of you and being like, okay, you want to help? So first, there were words that stood out to me: anticipation, tension, and patience. So work with the tension that's on Earth right now as a sexual energy, and a healthy sexual energy that can be harvested to create and grow your orgasmic energy, to make sure that you are living from a place of creativity so that you can be creating life in new ways, so that you can be envisioning, so that you can be dreaming, fantasizing, imagining, and eventually inventing creations that help adapt the world to be healthy and to still be operating from a place of love, even as we transition, even as we go. And maybe that's even why it was that word that came up, because even thinking about transitioning and being in that in-between space, being in the gray, Mother Earth is like, we're already here, and it doesn't have to be bad. Obviously, it's sad. There's a lot of grieving that is going to have to happen, but if we take the standpoint that this was always in the cards, and we were always going to get to this place because human beings, like any other life form, are ever evolving and have to learn from their mistakes and will make mistakes. And every opportunity, every failure is an opportunity to learn and to grow and understand that you were always going to do this. So, react from a place of loving rather than a place of shame, because shame isn't getting us anywhere. So there is this energy around working with the tension, and almost moving it from tension to anticipation. And that makes me think about how, oh my God, I can't even remember who it was at this. Oh, I do remember. I think her name is, it's either the Eagle-Eyed Tarot or the Crazy Dreamer, or the, like the Tarot Mistress, the Mistress Tarot, something like that. I'll figure it out. But she was talking about the energy of desire and how it's something that a lot of people struggle with because it's kind of painful. And so is tension. Sexual tension can be painful. But trying to take desire as a blessing and as a gift, and realize that if you are desiring something, it's because something that you want is coming. If there's tension that exists, it's because something that you are attracted to is near, right? So there is, instead of taking the tension and making it something negative, take the tension that exists on Earth as we go through this death state and turn it into something of love. You are anticipating, the health of the Earth. You are excited about and desiring, health and abundance for Earth. And, digging at the root of things, thinking about the root of health rather than just the physical, because it's interesting because right now we're in our own era of a lot of focus on the physical and, with plastic surgery and beauty standards and all these things. And we're talking about self-love a lot. We've been saying this is the era of self-love on Earth, and it's actually very important spiritually. But right now we're learning to love ourselves, because we are going to need to get to a point where we are really okay with the way that the world looks during the state of climate change. Like, it's not going to be beautiful and pretty all the time. And the way that we characterize Earth right now is through, the bountifulness and through the abundance and the greenery and the rushing waters and all of these landscapes that are beautiful but are few and far between these days for people to have access to on the regular. The Earth that we're seeing on the regular is one that is a little bit more difficult to describe as beautiful all the time. And there's a lot of shaming that we actually do against Mother Earth and the way that she is in this state of climate change. And I think that there's this ask for us to recognize the beauty, the inherent beauty and the inherent deservingness of love and appreciation and creative energy and sexual energy, orgasmic energy that Mother Earth naturally deserves. She just shouldn't have to earn by being like a beautiful mountain landscape and a rushing river and all these stuff. Even in the city, she is beautiful. As these concrete buildings, she is still beautiful. As a decaying tree who clearly has signs of health problems, she's still beautiful, still deserving of love. All of these things we need to instill, and that makes sense, again, why it was that specific song, Sweet Transvestite, that was chosen. Because when you think about how the way that trans people exist in this world and the relationship that they have to beauty and the struggle, because of our own very cis-normative and very not even based in any real experience of womanhood, but these standards that we have for femininity and for masculinity that are just made up and rarely fit any real woman or any real man or real person, real non-binary person. You know what I mean? So it's just so interesting that Mother Earth chose this, because she's seeing all of her children, every aspect of life that exists And she's like, you deserve love. You deserve love. If you can understand that you deserve love, then you'll begin to create and exist from a space of joy and self-fulfillment and self-empowerment, and do that outside and do that openly. Because when you do that, you give that energy to me. You know what I mean? And we often only like see Mother Earth in like parks and things like that. But she exists in everything, right? She exists in your concrete apartment buildings. She exists everywhere, in everything. Everything is made up of the earth. You know what I mean? So focusing on that love and that sexually creative energy, taking that tension and making it something of desire, making it healthy, making it joyful. It's going to be very, very powerful, you know? Things aren't always going to look beautiful aesthetic-wise, right? But that's why we need to make sure that we go deeper beyond the aesthetic and recognize the beauty that is inherent in survival. You know, we have this whole thing right now about getting out of survival mode. But there is something to learn from survival and some beauty to understand in the struggle, in the survival, because it's just the way that you recognize how deserving you are of life that you're not willing to give up. That's like roaches, you know? We all make fun of roaches and are mean to them because they're in our space and it makes us feel uncomfortable, and they're small and they're all over the place. But they believe that they deserve to be alive, so they fight for life. And they've lived through basically everything, you know? The roaches fucking survived when the dinosaurs didn't. You know what I mean? There's something very beautiful about believing that you deserve to be alive that much. And that is what our earth is going through right now. She loves herself. She believes in herself. But we need to believe in her too, and we need to love her too. And we can do that by also loving ourselves and believing in ourselves. You know, part of this lack of a reaction and actual action to climate change comes from like a suicidal tendency that human beings have, especially right now, because we don't think we're deserving of life. Because there's a lot of shame in saying that we are the reason the earth is the way it is right now, and we are causing the extinction of all of these other species and life forms. It's a lot of shame. And whether we're willing to openly say that or not, you know, but a lot of us don't think we deserve to be alive. And that's very, very hard to come to terms with. But we need to address this feeling of lack and unworthiness and begin to work on our self-love so that we can ultimately help serve the earth and help earth rebloom in a state of positivity. Because either way, the earth is dying, she's going to die, she's going to come back to life. That death period where she is literally dead, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't even know if that's within our lifetime, probably not. But we're going to get there. And then she's going to come back to life again. You know? And even within the death state, like, life is already blooming again. Like, being dead, I feel like my video is going to get banned for how many times I'm saying that word. But that energy, I don't feel like lasts very long. It almost feels like it's a snap of a finger. And then life within death begins, right? And we want to make sure that the life within death for Earth is a beautiful experience, and it can be beautiful, right? Because not everybody has a traumatizing death. Some people have a natural, peaceful death. Sometimes people are very happy to let go and move on, you know? We want that for Earth. We don't want her death experience to be traumatizing. Because you also have to think about the fact that the ancestor that is about to be bloomed, that is about to be born out of this version of Earth, we're in such an interesting time, because we're going to cross over the line and we are going to experience very closely what it is to work with an ancestor, a planetary ancestor, because Earth is about to become an ancestor again. She's already gone through this before, like with Ice Age and things like that, but she's about to become an ancestor again. And when she becomes an ancestor, we're going to get to work with that version of Earth and also recognize the new Earth. You know what I mean? That's such a beautiful and special experience, but we want to really cherish it and value it. And we need to make sure that the Earth that becomes an ancestor, that we give her a proper ending. We give her a proper death, a proper burial, a proper honoring of her. And not in a way that is self-pitying and selfish to the point where it's like, oh, I miss her because you miss what you had, you know. Honor this earth and then embrace and welcome the new earth. Embrace and welcome this new life. No matter how she looks, because she might not be what you wanted her to be, but she is, and isn't that beautiful? Aren't you lucky that we get another chance at even getting to experience earth in any form? You know what I mean? So yeah, have hope, you know. Things are not as doomsday as they feel. And in every apocalyptic show, like I said, nobody's ever fully dead. Like, there's always communities that are alive during the apocalypse and after the world has ended. People are still alive. You know what I mean? People go on. People find ways. The earth will find a way. And when that time comes, we want to make sure that we're ready to embrace and act from a place of empowerment and love rather than fear and shame. So those were just some things that I wanted to, I guess, get off my chest. And I think I'm gonna let this video end now, but I really enjoyed saying all that. So yeah, okay, bye.